What's up, everybody? It's Aaron Duncan here with the Necessary Bluntness Sports Talk, back again with another Panthers video. And I start off every video by saying, what up, dude? This is the channel where I might not tell you what you want to hear, but I'm definitely going to tell you what you need to hear. In today's video, we're going to talk about the Panthers offense, if they have the capability of being the top 10 ranked offense this year. And with the amount of youth that the Panthers are going to be playing on defense and having to play quarterbacks like Drew Brees, Tom Brady, and Matt Ryan twice a year, it's going to be some growing pains to go with that defense. But for the offense, though, we got some new weapons. We got some speed on the outside, a new quarterback. We have a new tight end stepping into a young role, and we have a new hotshot young offensive coordinator who's going to bring some fresh ideas, fresh out of a national championship with LSU. So I don't know if it's just the prospect of us being curious about what the offense is actually going to look like that has me hopeful, or the fact that we actually have the potential to be a very explosive offense that really has me intrigued about this upcoming year. But in this video, we're going to talk about all the things and factors that will play into us actually being a top 10 offense and why that can be very possible. But hey, real quick, down below in the comments, let me know if you think the Panthers can have a top 10 ranked offense, or where do you think they will actually end up being ranked? Do you think they actually get up to top 5? Do you think they'll be outside of the top 10? Let me know why. I want to first start off with our offensive coordinator, Joe Brady. And we know that he's the youngest offensive coordinator pretty much ever, I think so. And he came straight from LSU after spending some time in the NFL with the New Orleans Saints. This guy's really never called plays. That's the thing about it. He was an offensive assistant last year with the LSU Tigers, and he helped out and was a quarterback's coach with the New Orleans Saints, but he's never really had a chance to call plays. And that has me a little bit skeptical about it, but I know he has the creativity because the elements that he brought to LSU to help them be a little bit more explosive and to be no huddle last year really is what helped them put them over the edge. LSU was always known as a team that had talent, had players, quarterback situation was iffy. The defense was always good, but their offense could never really get it going. Last year, they kind of turned it up, had the #1 offense, had a Heisman-ranked quarterback, and that was the difference that helped them win a national championship. So I'm excited to see him bring some new ideas to the table, even though he's inexperienced from a play calling standpoint, because being able to design plays is one thing, which is cool, but being able to call plays in the flow, figuring out what your quarterback likes, making the adjustments during the game is a big-time factor when it comes to being an offensive coordinator. I'm excited to see what he brings to the table, but I'm not sure if he deserves the benefit of the doubt off rip just because of his prior experience and what success he had as an assistant before. Because like I said, once you get into that game, it's a little bit different, but I have a feeling he'll be able to figure it out on the run, worst case scenario, especially with the amount of talent that we have, that I'm excited to see what kind of new ideas after having an old coach like Norv Turner and having a guy like Mike Shula, who wasn't the most creative offensive coordinator in the world either. So it'll be good just to have some new young blood in the NFL working for us. Next thing that has me excited about the Panthers possibly being a top 10 offense is the amount of speed and explosiveness on the outside. Now, I've been a harp of saying that the Panthers have a bunch of guys that can pretty much do the same thing, which makes it pretty good to be able to move guys around and make them versatile. They're all 5'10", 5'11", can run the ball, can run after the catch, have pretty decent hands. When you talk about guys like Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore, and Curtis Samuel, they're all in that same bill. They're like a running back style, hybrid type of wide receiver, receiving guys that very versatile, that, like I said, can actually line up in the backfield, take a toss to the outside, or has the explosiveness to break tackles and stuff like that, and pretty much get nasty after the catch. And you add that with the ability of Robby Anderson that we brought in from the New York Jets, who was a victim of his circumstances in New York, playing for Adam Gase and having to catch passes from Sam Darnold. But I expect him to be a game changer. This guy can really stretch the field, and he can play the slot. He can play the outside. I'm excited to see where we put him in this offense because he has familiarity with Matt Rhule based off of playing with him in college, and he has a speed element that can stretch the field that's only going to complement DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel even more as they run crossing routes and deep routes themselves, leaving a bunch of room underneath for guys like Christian McCaffrey. Not to mention we have a pretty fast tight end, Ian Thomas, who has been raw coming out of Indiana, but he's had a couple years of experience to learn behind Greg Olsen, and now that it's finally his time, if he can stay healthy, I'll be anxious to see what he can do when he gets the ball in his hands in open field also. The next thing about the offense is Teddy Bridgewater. Now, there's a lot of people that were skeptical and didn't really like Cam. They were happy to see him go. I was a big Cam fan. I'm not going to lie. But at the same time, I know what these guys bring to the table. I had a steady confidence in Cam Newton that he could elevate players when some guys were missing or injured, or if we had lack of talent on the outside. You saw this guy take a piss poor receiving core to the Super Bowl and elevate the gameplay and the level of play for the whole offense. Teddy Bridgewater is not exactly that guy. He's not really a franchise quarterback, but he is a solid starter in this league that can get the job done. He can run the offense. He's not going to make a ton of mistakes. If you give him time and give him weapons, he can get the job done. And I think we have the weapons to help Teddy succeed. You saw Teddy really have a breakout season last year with the Saints, who has one of the best offensive lines in the league, along with the quality running game with Latavius Murray and Alvin Kamara, and arguably the best wide receiver in the league in Michael Thomas. He was able to take advantage of his opportunities in those 5 games that he played with them, because if you give him a good core around him, he will get the job done. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So it's up to the Panthers to pretty much get that all done. And it looks like they're surrounding him with plenty of weapons, from a running back to wide receivers to fast tight ends that can get it done. And there's a lot of doubt about if he'll actually sling that thing and let it go deep. I think he's heard all the criticism, and I think it's going to get in Teddy's head that, hey, I have all the speed at wide receiver. I'm going to have to let this rip, and it's going to be on me to be point guard. I don't have to be Russell Westbrook and play point guard and force the issue. I can be Chris Paul and just throw the ball to my guys and let them do all the work. And I think Teddy Bridgewater is smart enough to let that happen and let these guys do their work. And last but not least, which the only thing that gives me cause to pause about this Panthers offense is the offensive line. Like, for years, we've always had some weapons at certain times, but the offensive line has been the Achilles heel from Super Bowl 50 to the past 3 seasons, where Cam Newton pretty much got beat up in the pocket, and it ended up shortening his career, taking some seasons off his life as a Panther. So it's going to be up to giving him time. You know, we have the weapons to get deep and get behind defenses, but if you don't have an offensive line that can give Teddy Bridgewater protection long enough to get the ball downfield to those weapons, it doesn't really matter. Not to mention, we have a nice running game last year, but we need to be able to run the ball on a consistent basis. I have no doubt in Christian McCaffrey. He's the best running back in the league. And last year, with a average offensive line, he was able to have that 1,000 yard year. So I'm not really having any worries about Christian McCaffrey, which is why I'm not really talking about him much in this video. I know he's going to do what he does regardless of what's going on around him. He is the one constant that we can count on. We paid him like a running back / wide receiver, and he's going to perform that way. It's this offensive line that gives me cause to pause with Russell Okung at left tackle. There's been some skepticism about if he actually been committed to the game. Did he want to retire because of COVID? What was going on with him? We have Taylor Moton, the right tackle, and that's probably one of the most confident pieces I have on this team. And those 2 tackles are going to be the key, as we've seen, and these are the 2 most important spots in NFL protection off the edge. You know what I'm saying? So I want to see what those tackles can do. If they can step up and be competent, they don't even have to be great. Matt Rhule seems to have a lot of confidence in them, as he says he expects them to play well, but I want to see what they have. And they're going to be the tone setters, because, like I said, we have the numbers to get good running yards, but it's also about making the plays in the right situations. Now, we can have a top 10 offense on paper, which I highly believe they was capable, but how effective will that offense be when we need it the most? You know, last year, Christian McCaffrey was one of the better running backs in the league when it came to scoring touchdowns and getting yards, but we struggle on short yardage conversions. There's a stat out there that said the Carolina Panthers were the worst team when it comes to running for a first down in situations of third down of 2 yards or short. See, that means that when it's 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1, the Panthers, when they tried to run, they were the least successful team in the league. And that's got to change. You guys remember multiple games like the Bucs and the Packers game just coming to my head off the top, where we lost because Christian McCaffrey couldn't get in the end zone, or he came up 1 yard short. And those are 2 games that maybe could have turned around our year. The Packers were a playoff team. The Bucs, that was an early game in the season that really kind of set the tone for us, that had we got that win, things may go a little bit different in our season. You never know. And they say it's a game of inches, and that is completely true, because you got to be able to convert those times when the defense knows you're going to run. There's sometimes you can keep them off balance and have run and pass and play action. The defense doesn't know what's coming. But sometimes you got to be able to man up, be tough on 4th and 1 and 3rd and 1. You got to be able to line up and just say, hey, you know I'm going to run it. I know you know I'm going to run it, but we're still going to do it anyway, and we're still going to get that yard. And that's what it's going to be about. Will it take using some other backs beside Christian McCaffrey to get that done? It may be, because we don't have that quarterback element like Cam Newton to rely on that to convert those 3rd downs and 4th downs. For years, we have been so spoiled with the high success rate of having that, and we're moving into an era where we don't have that anymore. So we got to figure out how to be tougher and to be able to get that done. All in all, I will say that the Panthers do definitely have the potential and probably will be a top 10 offense. I don't see any reason why they can't be unless their offensive line just completely is in shambles. But with the weapons that we have on the outside, plus the best running back in the league, plus a nice steady starter quarterback in Teddy Bridgewater that can deliver the ball accurate to a lot of these speed guys that we have, I see no reason why they can't be efficient and run up those numbers, especially with Joe Brady coming in. So there's a few key question marks, but I also think there's enough constants in there to keep us steady and to make sure we're productive. But like I said, it'll all be about situational football and being able to execute offensively when it matters the most, when you need that yard or you need to get into the end zone or you need a 4th and long or a 3rd and long, stuff like that. It's all about situational football. So you guys let me know down below in the comments, do you think the Panthers will have a top 10 offense this year? And let me know how high do you think they can rank? Do you think they'll even be top 5? Let me know down below in the comments. Let me know anything you think about Teddy Bridgewater, Joe Brady, all the above, man. But without further ado, I'm Aaron Duncan signing off with Necessary Blunt and Sports Talk. I'll see you next time.